It's another edition of Behind the Mic with AudioFile magazine. Michele Cobb, publisher of AudioFile, is with me. We're on a theme. Take it away, Michele.
Today we're talking about My Next Breath, a memoir written and read by Jeremy Renner.
The actor.
Yes.
And okay, I have a sense what this revolves around. Please go on.
Sure. Let me set it up for you. So, New Year's Day 2023 was the day that Jeremy Renner was crushed by a 14,000-pound snowcat. And he is, of course, a recognizable actor. So, the story got a lot of press. He was attempting to free his nephew's truck from the snow when the plow began to slide and he exited the cab, but then he tried to get back inside to stop this huge snowcat from hitting his nephew. And in the process, he was pulled underneath the vehicle and crushed.
Ay, 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 ay.
So he broke 38 bones. He had a collapsed
Oh,
lung. He had an eye outside of the socket and
oh my
he was
God.
bleeding. And of course, there his nephew is, no phone, no means of communication. So the nephew runs to a neighbor's house and got help. And it took half an hour for the paramedics to arrive. And during that time, Renner worked to keep himself alive, especially because he has a young daughter, literally one breath at a time.
Hence the title. Yeah. It's a horrifying story.
I mean, it was completely shocking, totally compelling. And the audiobook includes the 911 call,
Oh,
which is really an affecting piece of the listen.
oh God,
I
I would
was
think it would be.
glad they included it, yeah.
Wow, so it was the 911 call that his nephew made?
They were talking to the
Or
neighbors,
the
yeah,
neighbor
yeah.
did? Wow, okay. And what about Renner's narration himself? Of course, he's an actor, but, it's a different medium.
It's a very different medium, and I don't know that he has had a ton of stage training, so I found him sometimes a little breathless and a little bit mushy,
Mhm.
but the mushiness is probably because of his injuries, because he mentions his mouth is never gonna be the same. He broke his jaw, he didn't have it fixed in any way, and he talked about the fact that he is in pain a lot of the time
Oh,
around his mouth, and it was such a compelling listen. I mean, I couldn't stop listening to it at all because he survives, then he has to go through multiple surgeries, and he's got this intense and painful rehab, and he's telling it and giving you the emotional push behind it. And the incredible and crazy thing, he's navigating all this change. Guess how many days later before he went home?
I would think months.
12 days later.
Oh my
In pain, a lot of pain meds, and a lot of titanium in his body, he goes home. So even though, of course, he's having top notch medical care, he's having the support of his family, it is just mind blowing to imagine the physical and mental strength it took to recover and to figure out your new body. So I was even more surprised. I mean, it was just like hit after hit
yeah,
because a few weeks later, he goes cold turkey off the oral pain meds.
wow.
And you're just, I felt wrung out. Is those are the words I would use, and completely impressed by him. He was very honest. He was very humane, and the accident changed his perspective, and he portrays that really well.
So it's like he transforms this personal tragedy into a bigger story of renewal in some ways.
Yeah, he was so positive.
Mhm.
I just felt I, as a human, could not live up to his new perspective, and I thought if that happened to me, there's no way I would be 12 days later home, getting off pain meds, positive, and finding the good in it.
Yeah,
So,
I can absolutely tell you, and I would, and you'd be up and out before I would be. Trust me on that. No, 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 no. Oh, Lord. Do we know, has he gone back to acting?
he has, yeah,
Oh, good.
absolutely. He talks about going back to the sets and having to make some accommodations, and obviously it takes some time, but he's running.
Oh, God.
The man was in
How do
great
you do
shape
that?
before, but he's not young, and he just really has the stamina and the wherewithal, and I think a lot of it is the mental focus to push through and to navigate the change, and also to just, understand what he needs to do in a different way and be okay with that. It's a huge mental game.
Do we have an excerpt?
Yes, this is before the accident when everyone is snowed in but happy.
This is My Next Breath, a memoir, written and read by Jeremy Renner.
My pal David Kelsey and I, along with Rory and Alex, would wake up early in the morning and start a real cleanup of the snow. And then, if the nearby ski mountain was open, and doing our best to ignore the cognitive dissonance that even though we figured nobody would make it up the mountain the next day, they'd still open the mountain just for us. We'd load up the kids, the snowboards, the skis, and head down the half-mile driveway to the highway and the nearby slopes on into the new year filled with hope, excitement, and even more gratitude. Everything was close to perfect as you can get. It was such a special night at the end of a very special few days. I was with the people I love most. We had made it to Camp Renner. We were together. And tomorrow, maybe we get out finally, get down some ski runs, whooping at the promise of another year to cherish. We were safe, cocooned, happy. This was a typical Renner New Year. And if the weather got gnarly again, and we really wanted to escape, we always had the snowcat.
God, I'm sort of listening to this and, it's this lovely scene, and he describes it beautifully, and, and I know what's coming.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so one should be prepared to listen, but listen.
Yes. And it's not particularly long. So again, this is the type of book that I think I listen to in two sittings with long walks and kind of doing stuff around the house because I really was like, what? I got to sit down for a minute and take this in, and then stand up again and, oh, wow.
Okay, that is My Next Breath, a memoir written and read by Jeremy Renner. Okay, another winner. Michelle, thank you. But before we say goodbye, we have a bonus episode of Behind the Mic on
We
Friday.
do. I get to talk to Whoopi Goldberg. Woo!
That's right. We're revisiting your interview, and I'm very excited by it. Do you want to give us a hint of what it is you spoke about?
Well, we actually talked about her autobiography. So it's kind of fun. You hear me listen to a lot of celebrity autobiographies, and it's really neat when you get to talk to someone whose story that you've listened to hear about her take on it. And also, she did such a great job with the narration. She really let those emotions flow through the narration. So it was fun to kind of talk to her about it face to face, as it were, virtually,
A-
but still.
yeah, and she won an Audie Award for it.
She did indeed, and gave the most incredible speech about what audiobooks mean to her, and her status in the industry went from someone who we all knew and loved to the top of the top. I think we will all bow to her next time
Oh,
we see
there
her.
wasn't a dry eye in the
No,
house.
no. It
There really wasn't. It was
and
wonderful,
it,
and you had a wonderful conversation with her.
yes, and it's just so amazing that she took the time to acknowledge all the hard work that people in the industry do every day, and the incredible narration that goes into making so many of these books.
Yeah, it was gracious, it was heartfelt, and we were moved. It was great.
And she
So
brought the Audie to the View the next day. So
she did. It was really wonderful. So this Friday, you really will not want to miss Michelle's conversation with Whoopi Goldberg. Dreamscape is the sponsor of today's episode of Behind the Mic. Dreamscape publishes audiobooks from authors like Frida McFadden, Kirsten Proby, and Katie Robert. Explore their full catalog at dreamscapepublishing.com. I'm Jo Reed, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.